Gold Rush Guru at the 150. Scary is staying on, then China Sea. Gold Rush Guru for South Australia with 100 to go is pulling out. It's the stronger. It's going well. And Gold Rush Guru won the Derby.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. We are proudly brought to you by TopSport Punting, Form, Tas Racing and Racing Queensland. I'm in the Gold Coast studio with John Walter. How are you? Fresh bounce through Derby Day?
Mate, you've thrown me off with a different introduction there. You've thrown off my timing. Straight through the longest day in history yesterday into a 3,200 metre staying race. Like, you couldn't have me more excited.
DK, fresh for once, Sunday.
Right. Yeah, that's right, Scoot. I'm up and about, quarter time. Great days racing, one of the great days, Derby Day. Don't even matter if it's been diluted a bit by what's happening in Sydney. It was still a great day, some great stories and some great performances. Nico, you were out there. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. Really good crowd. Managed to get a few results late in the day. So, a bit of confidence, a bit of momentum into Cup Day. So, keen to get out there again. And I think there was 80,000 there yesterday. It felt a bit like a Cup Day crowd, to be honest. So, I think Cup Day is going to sell out. So, crowds are back. Everyone enjoyed the races. And, we saw some good performances on the track.
Huge. Yeah, I think crowd and telecast and just the buzz around Melbourne from all my chat groups are absolutely fever pitch. So must be a buzz down there in Melbourne town. Let's do a quick recap of Derby Day. Gold Rush Guru. DK, you put it out as your on top pick. Walt's been chasing the horse since on debut, tried to buy it for a couple of his mates, but just kept carting around an apprentice jockey, and once I got the senior riders, and then I think it was like the Hill Stakes or whatever they had, an 1,800 metre race. It stamped its credentials there, and wow, it was a great win. And it was just a shame that the race was sort of cruel by the barrier draw. I think if it draws in and alongside Gold Rush Guru, I think you would have seen him duke it out, and that would have been a big spectacle. But El Costello and Gold Rush Guru went superb. But hat tip, DK, I'm too scared to ask Walt.
Yeah, well, I mean, just anyone wants to go back and look at that Hill Smith Stakes. You won't see a horse win easier, like a staying horse, do what it, just win easier and into a nice lead up into a big race. But I never took my eyes off it. It began okay. Then I thought, I got a bit keen, and she's trying to ride it back, and then she says, no, I'll roll the dice and roll forward. Then it looked like it was going to get planted 3 wide, and then all of a sudden she got in and it dropped its head, and it was just a nice watch. And she was going that well. She just pulled the trigger early, but it's a good win, I tell you. It was a nice little pluck there, but the different form. It worked out a bit yesterday with the couple of the icky lead ups in the Coolmore and the Derby there, sort of coming to the fore. So I'll happily cop a pat in the back for that one. That was a good one.
Heard from JP on El Costello.
No, I won't be asking that question for a while. Yeah, it was painful for me. Like, it was never in market till last week, so it's funny if you sort of had noticed it there at 50 or 100 to 1 at any stage, probably have a sanity go on it. But I think someone won a lot of money out of it because it started at $8. It's pretty well back. But yeah, if you watch the first 400 metres, Josh and it are side by side after about 200 metres, and Josh was like just said, Jamie probably had 4 runners underneath. The JP's gone, too much, drag out, and she had the balls to sort of roll forward, and she was acting God to lob into the spot she did, but it was due to her positivity that she did it. So, and Josh sort of faced the impossible task. So Jamie Carr was the difference, and I think it drew 18. Oh no, sorry, Josh drew 18. I think it drew 15 or 16. So, there wasn't much different. It was just the rides. Too good, J Carr.
Looking at the Coolmore stud, we found the right lead-up race, the Roman Consul, but we jumped left instead of right, and the right way was Switzerland. You found him late doors out of the yard. Nico, he come on a fair bit or looked like the Incredible Hulk? Somehow Waller's done it again.
No, I'd never seen the horse. I sort of thought he'd come in, and everything I'd seen for him as an early 2-year-old, I thought he'd be a bit of an ant, to be honest. And he came into the yard, and I was very surprised just how much of a sort of imposing type he is. So I just had to be on after I saw the yard. It wasn't a huge result, just had something on him. But yeah, he bolted in, Traffic Warden, I think had EIPH, Glory Empire. He's done a lot this campaign, didn't nail the start, and Bellatrix Star didn't have a whole lot of luck. So I think the victory, you could probably say the margin's a little bit inflated with a few things going wrong for a few others. But once I saw him in the yard, I had to be on.
He was $1.5 million yearling, wasn't he? So
yeah,
I think he'd be a nice type, but gee whiz. Yeah, he went a lot better than I thought it would. Tell you what, I don't know about you, Walt, but that was a bit more than you've probably seen a bit more than I have. But gee whiz,
he was he was immature as a 2-year-old. And I remember everyone was like, whatever he's doing now, he's gonna come on as a 3-year-old. But we said that about a lot of those 2-year-olds, and none of them really did. So and then first up he flopped. Second up he looked a bit lucky, sort of found the fast lane to get away with it, and then he turned into via Switzerland yesterday, is what I'm calling him now. Via Sistina, via Switzerland, via Duke de Sessa. They're just all growing a leg, but that could be. I don't think we'll see him too many more times, will we? Switzerland, we'll see him probably in the autumn, and he'll be off and gone, unfortunately. But it was a good performance, whatever it was.
Yeah, he would have. I don't think he would have pulled up. I think there's a Hungry Jack's out the back of the racecourse there at Flemington. That's the only time he slowed down, I think.
Well, he could have, if the Coolmore Stud Stakes had an auto entry to the Melbourne Cup, he might have had a shot at the title. Golden
Eagle was a spectacle, and it was a spirited betting race. The closest thing I got to a boat with the Scoli Piscina was pinching a fish finger off one of my kids' plates last night for dinner, and I had to settle for a couple of those. But she was off the map. The Japanese mare, she went disappointed. She got the big bump from me out of the gates, but no real excuses. She should have gone a lot better than that. But it was helter-skelter. Lake Forest just dived through, and wow, what a win that was. I thought Lazat was all honours, and Steffi Magnetica was probably very stiff there, and maybe something beat. But what was interesting?
Well, it might not have beat the winner. It would have beaten Lazat.
Yeah.
It was just whether the winner would have got the run it got and whether it would have held it off.
But I was just really second versus first was I thought the right thing happened there, and that was dismissed. And Walt just mentioned it should have been frivolous. But I thought the Steffi Magnetica protest against Lazat should have been upheld, and it was amazing to hear that the steward said that it was basically too difficult for them to sort of comprehend. And given the fines that the jockeys have got as a consequence of the race, they've both got, 100,000 and 30,000. I was in shock that it wasn't Steffi Magnetica elevated. Lazat dropped to fifth, and then Tom Kitt should have got second, and then I think it was very strange that Steffi didn't get into the placings there.
The fines drive me mad because the winner's interference was far less than Lazat, and it obviously caused a bit more carnage. Maybe to what was the other horse that got checked out late, Macarena or something.
Yeah.
I love how if you win the race, you get the biggest fine. It doesn't really make sense to me, but regardless, yeah, the Lazat, he was hard fence when Zach decided to come around him. And as soon as the stewards say that he was within that striking distance and the run was there, how can you not uphold it? It doesn't make any sense. He's coming 3 to its 1. Like, what was he going to do? Lift off the canvas? And I don't understand. But as soon as the only defence that Lazat had was it wasn't close enough and the run wasn't there. As soon as the stewards, which they did, said it was entitled to have that run, it should have been a 10-second uphold, I would have thought. But it was ugly, and it just felt like, just a bit smelly. But stewards are a little bit difficult at the moment, aren't they?
A lot of the commentary on Twitter was that Lazat would have already been relegated in France, so they do it a little bit differently over there. And a lot of people that actually backed Lazat were in shock that it didn't fall out of the placings. It was he
shifted like 6 or 8 horses, and he never stopped riding for 1 second. He's bashed the bloody fur off it. Oh man, yeah, it's a difficult one to, if you're a Steffi Magnetica or a connection for sure.
Any commentary or thoughts around that, boys, or happy to move on?
Oh, well, I know some people are on Steffi for the absolute national, and they were in the feed all last night. One of them cancelled dinner on me. He just couldn't. He said it'd be like a funeral. So yeah, they were adamant that it would have won, but yes, she was carnage, all right.
It was hard to blame Zach too, and I've been pretty harsh on Zach. Like it was literally hard fence, Lazat, and he's committed to the outside. You know, if the act of God stepped off the left like Fred Fittler, and as soon as he saw it drifting, he went back inside it, maybe we see a different result. But there was enough room for 4 or 5 horses there at one point. So you know, as much as we've been harsh on Zach at times, I think he's completely fearless, the kid, and maybe he just sort of he committed a millisecond too early. But I think it was more the more the Italian rider's fault this time.
Well, we know it's grand final week because we've only got through the first quarter, as DK has said. And, a lot of punters battled and bruised. I'm definitely one of them. And if you've got a lead, you've done really well because it was a bit of a trivial Derby Day and Golden Eagle Day. So well done to all the punters that found a way. 110% markets at TopSport for Melbourne Cup on Monday, 3 till 4. So tomorrow afternoon or Monday afternoon, if you're watching the show a little bit late, 3 till 4, TopSport, 110% markets on the Cup. Just unbeatable. It basically forces you to have a bet into those. And then for Oaks Day, there'll be Wednesday, 3 till 4, 110% market. So 2 opportunities there. And then I think Tristan's going to open the shoulders a little bit for Stakes Day or the final day. As it is usually on Fridays, 3 till 4. So I think he'll offer multiple 110% markets. So Melbourne Cup Monday and then Wednesday for Oaks Day for the 110% markets. We're going to get stuck into the Melbourne Cup. We're going to have a look at some key lead-up videos. So we've got about 7 or 8 key races with all the runners, so you'll be able to see their most recent form, and we'll have some overriding commentary on that from all the panel, and then we'll get into the runner-by-runner analysis on positives and negatives of why we like certain horses, and then we've got a couple of best bets across the day. We've got some TopSport Steamers, but I think the first thing that we're going to have a look at now is we're going to go in market order for the big race on Tuesday, and we'll see who TopSport and Tristan Merlihan has got favourite, and then we'll do saddlecloth order after we see those replays. So VOBAN's come up favourite $6, Buckaroo $6. $7 One Smooth Operator, Absurde $9.50, Sea King $9.50, ZARDOZI $16, OKITA SOUSHI $17, Land Legend $18, Interpretation at the Similar Quote. Then you got St George $20, Kovalica $21, Warp Speed $26, Circle of Fire $34, and then you're starting to get out to the tail of the market with Just Fine the Map $41, or much better the rest. So without further ado, let's have a look at a couple of these key lead ups. And first replay we're going to have a look at here is VOBAN in the Irish St Ledger, and Kyprios is the winner of this race. And Walt, I know you got some strong opinions on this race.
Yeah, I think this horse is just is very well suited in small fields. And whilst Kyprios would start a very short price favourite probably in this actual Melbourne Cup, I think he's sort of a different class, and he's cheated out the back here in a small field, hasn't come around a horse VOBAN, and never really looks like getting near the winner for mine. Pretty flat on the line and gets past the 2 other runners late. So whilst he's finishes very close to a classy horse here, I think he was flattered for another, probably the easiest word.
Caulfield Cup, Buckaroo runs second to Duke de Sessa, and there's plenty in this field. You got Land Legend, who probably didn't handle it, ZARDOZI, Fancy Man, Valiant King, Circle of Fire, Warp Speed. Nico and DK?
Yeah, let DK. He's the Buckaroo man, so I'll handball over to him.
Yeah, well, I'm seat 1A in the Buckaroo fan club. Look, he was entitled to finish off. It was because he had energy to expend late. But I mean, this has been the traditional lead up. This has been the right form race for without a fight, the gold trips, and then look at the space he puts on a horse like Land Legend late, and Duke de Sessa. God, have you ever look after the line? He's not stopping Duke de Sessa, so he was still going. So no, that's a terrific performance on the back of the V Sistina form. That's why I liked him there. It's the A form. It's the best form in Australia. We saw it in the Cox Plate. So, we'll discuss him later about his 3,200 for him and the barrier draw. But that's the Caulfield Cup's the right form for mine.
Cox Plate is the next replay we're going to have a look at here. And Kovalica was put to sleep early by Mark Zara. But as you can sort of see in this replay, I don't think he got around the valley as well as I'd like him to. He tried to lay in a couple of times. Broadsiding was sort of in his road a little bit, but I sort of like the fact that he just kept picking himself up and trying. And at minus V Sistina here, who's obviously set this new big peak, a run like this, to my eye, and on normalising things from a Melbourne Cup perspective, to get that close to prognosis and the time that he's run, it looks like a sort of a Winks Humidor type time on the clock in 2017. So I think he's right in the mix, and I just love the fact that it's 59 kilos back to 53 kilos here. And I thought that run had plenty of merit in the Cox Plate, and I think he's cost himself a couple of lengths by not getting around the course, and then just by some of that traffic that he found there. And the Moonee Valley Cup was the night before. Nico, you might talk to this one. You got Just Fine, Sharp and Smart, AKITA SOUSHI, MANZOICE, Positivity, and St George. Thoughts?
Yeah, AKITA SOUSHI, I thought really improved in the yard this night. This is a really good win. Sharp and Smart. Don't know if he got around the Moonee Valley course the best, and then St George, the grey out the back, is definitely the one that's hitting the line the best. He was the fastest last 200 of the race. Gets into the race with, 51 or 50 kilos for Tyler Schiller. So he's probably the one that's most suited out of the race. But I think AKITA SOUSHI is absolutely flying, and you can't really take much away from him. Now he gets Jamie Carr aboard. He's going to map in the right spot again. He looks a key chance for mine. I think he's just hitting the race at the right time. So, I think it's a form line that's going to stack up the Moonee Valley Cup. I think there's a few good roughies in there out of it this year, but AKITA SOUSHI is probably the one to take out of it.
Okay. The next one we've got is Absurde in the Chester Stakes, and looks like a different sort of scenario. You can see him sort of 3 back in the pale sort of pink colours, and he was sort of held up, and then
blows the whistle
and dashes up sort of sharply here. And I thought it was a pretty impressive win and a sign of a horse that's going really well. And I think the difference with both VOBAN and Absurde, they've come here fitter and raced them much, much later. And that's all the commentary that you hear from the Mullins camp. But I sort of like what I saw in that one.
That was a beautiful blowout, that. Just a little squirt up the fence, strong through the line.
Yep.
He's running the Melbourne Cup last year, was obviously pretty good too in comparison to his stablemate. So I thought his lead up was better than VOBAN's personally.
Yeah, I'd tend to agree with that one. The Randwick St Ledger, you've got ATHABASCAN and Trust in You. Trust in You down on the fence?
Yeah, Trust in You sort of box-seated, thought he did the wrong thing staying to the inside, but it's hard to really argue too much. ATHABASCAN, just a rock-solid campaigner that it looks like he's peaking at the right time. Wycliffe comes around his heels here, was a bit unlucky. He was unlucky yesterday. Is this form probably strong enough is the main question. Trust in You looks a little bit weak late in comparison to ATHABASCAN, has trialled since, but ATHABASCAN's just really adaptable and he wasn't stopping on the line, so at least a solid pass mark going to a race like this, even though it is a very different task.
Let's have a look at the Ebor now, and it's One Smooth Operator in the blue and white stripes, and you can see him. He's got the big baldy face. He's just in behind them pulling out, and the other horse,
Sea King,
that you can see, he's in the lime green sleeves, and the jockey's just jumping up and down like he's riding a pogo
he
stick.
starts flapping everywhere in a sec.
Yeah. So the blaze on the outside is One Smooth Operator, and then here you are is Sea King, and he's on the inside with those lime running into about 5th there, and he actually stayed in the gates this day, Sea King, and I thought that he stuck on pretty well there, given he was set a pretty big task against One Smooth Operator, and that was both coming out of the Ebor form. And let's go to the Bendigo. The Geelong Cup now, and we'll see One Smooth Operator make a meal of him here. We've got the map and interpretation. Nico?
This was a weird race. You had Sea King, not Sea King, Birdman, who did nothing, like he didn't show up. The favourite, Unusual Legacy, was put out of the race. Muramasa was unlucky. The map was unlucky. I'm sort of questioning this form a little bit, like the margin at least. Like, there just was, the interpretation wasn't there to win. He didn't want a penalty. He got right back, flew home. Like, I think the margin you can probably put down to a lot of things going wrong for other runners. Muramasa interpretation, if they're out earlier, they might have finished closer. So that's probably the knock, but it's a big win. Geelong Cup's usually a good lead into the race. He's got the form through Sea King. I think he's short enough, especially given he's had a little bit of a setback during the week with a cut to his heel, which isn't a major issue, but I think in the Melbourne Cup you don't want any issues going in. So for mine, there's definitely some ticks to him, but I think he's a little short given everything went in his favour there at Geelong.
Question there, he pulled up like across the line as soon as he eased. They basically ran past him, Muramasa, and I saw he pulled up mildly lame. Obviously, we've seen the checks and balances in this race. He's obviously okay now physically, but yeah, that was a little bit icky to me too.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Bendigo Cup is the next one here, and Sea King absolutely travelled, but they put the brakes on around the 1,300 metre mark, and then Dex made a real good mid-race move, but he just absolutely trucked into it, and he dashed up for the 400, the 200, but I really liked the way he sort of maintained his top, and I've sort of been the head cheerleader of the Berkeley Square team, or the cheer squad all spring, and I thought there was a fair bit of merit into that win, and I think I said to you, Nico, off air, that maybe he was a little bit flooded by that ride, but I'm starting to think that that race might have had a bit more guts to it than the Geelong Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a bit similar. There was a few horses in behind him that didn't have a lot of luck, so the margins probably a little bit better than it should be. But all you can do is win. And I thought, given the ride and the circumstances, it was a terrific win. And I think in a year where the Melbourne Cup, there doesn't look a whole heap of pressure, this horse has sort of shown if he can get rolling and keep it a good, consistent gallop, like he's still got a bit of a turn of foot. And I think from barrier 1, that'll be a big advantage for him. So look at the ratings. That was a very good rating, same as One Smooth Operator. They're within sort of Buckaroo on the weight for age ratings once you adjust them for weight. So that's sort of suggestion that it's pretty strong form. And I thought Seeking DK definitely looked the part when I saw him in the yard. Nice black horse. He looked a bit like that horse behind you, actually. So, I think he'll look the part there on Tuesday.
Yeah, they were similar rides, weren't they? Both Craig Williams got rolling on Smooth Operator at the right time when D. Bates went a bit earlier than you normally would, but they were the instructions. So they did have a bit in their favour there, the way they were ridden, but they can only win impressively. And horses who win those sort of cup races, lead-ups impressively, do have good records in the cup.
This one's for you, DK. Empire Rose, ZARDOZI. I would expect a hard-fit Caulfield Cup horse to race this well. Obviously, it's a traditional type setup. There's no 2,000-metre race here, but what do you think about it?
It's still a win because it was dropping back 800 metres. 800. So 2,400 back to a mile. And I know it was a fast run race, so that was suited, but gee whiz, she can't do much more than that. I thought that was she's back in the game off that. She was, she had that blemish. She was second favourite in the Caulfield Cup, even though she didn't go that well that day. Maybe there might have been a reason or not.
Soft track, I reckon.
Soft track. So soft track. Got the Metropolitan form run with Land Legend. She's got earlier in the prep. She's got V16 on Buckaroo form. So I thought that she couldn't have done any more there. And the Cummings name and the plan. That's what I like about this cup. You've got the one coming out of the Cox Plate. I used to love the horses coming out of the Cox Plate in Melbourne. Then you've got the ones backing up off the Saturday, the old Bart thing. They got one of them in the race too. Plus, that's why even though people say the quality's down a bit, but there's still good angles in this cup. And this is one of them on the backup.
Nico, you liked her in the yard?
Yeah, I thought she presented outstanding in the yard. I could have nearly had a top pick, to be honest, but I thought that'd be the case. She'd go back and probably just not be there to win. But I think if the things went a little bit differently for her in the run, she definitely would have run third. You look her through the line. She went through the line super. I thought she improved from the Caulfield Cup. I know she's got form on soft and heavy tracks, but most of her real dominant performances in the Oaks and then the performances this campaign are all on good ground. So Flemington's a huge tick for her. She's had 4 starts at Flemington for 2 wins, a second in the Wakeful and a 4th or a 5th there. So she loves HQ. So, I think she's a big chance.
The last replay we're going to have a look at here is the Bart Cummings. So it's quite a while ago now, and just finds an interesting reference point because I sort of expected better from it in the Moonee Valley Cup. And the other horse here is Mostly Cloudy, who is a long way back. And I was surprised that they've gone on with this horse. It's flapping around the back in the yellow and blue. Maybe it had an off day, but when it's at its best, it can be menacing at these long distance races. But Walt, any chatter or any talk about Just Fine and where he's at, where that horse is at?
You got St George and interpretation in there too.
Yeah,
on paper it looked like that race might be okay, but it's just there's a couple of versions of Just Fine, but it certainly was ridden well there. It's probably a lot more controlled speed than what it normally leads at, and there was not much merit in the back half of the race, so they just sort of let it pinch a break, and I think it just got away with one. I think it was a bit of an act of God win there, and I'm not sold that it's the best form line in the world.
Okay, let's go top to bottom in saddlecloth order here, and we'll give some positives and negatives, and you guys at home can make of that what you will, and then we'll do a summary at the end of the 24 runners, and we'll give everyone's maybe top 4 selections. We might even do a Ron Dufficy and give 5 or 6. But VOBAN is the first runner. I've not got a lot to say that Walt didn't cover, but any love down in Melbourne for you boys?
Well, I'm wounded from it last year because I fell into it last year like a lot of people did. So I'm not that forgiving. I can understand Willie saying there's 8 things he's done differently this year, but that transpired against them whatever this year. So I can expect to it's going to run well. But no, I'm back for the second time. I reckon that helps as well. It's been here before. I don't think it handled it that well last time, but I don't know. I'm not with it this time. Nico, what about you?
I think you can make a case that he should be, right in the game off the SP last year. I think last year was a stronger cup than this year. I can see the sort of case that people are making. I just don't know if he's the right horse for this race. Like, he doesn't seem to have a lot of change-up speed. He needs a few things to go right in the run. I didn't like his last start, how he was laying in back towards the inside for most of the straight. What I saw from him in the yard last year, he would have to have a really different preparation this year to be in my calculations, because he just wasn't fit enough. He was very toey in the mounting yard. I think the occasion got to him. So maybe there's some improvement there. I was around him. I couldn't believe he was $6. I was triple the price. So, yeah, I'm hard against.
Well,
yeah, similar. Like, he's in similar form to what he showed last year, which is, if you go off, time form ratings, and that is superior to what we see from sort of Sea King and those horses, clearly superior, and not giving them a heck of a lot of weight. So, I can see why the market wants to find him. My problem with him is he's got like this short dash. He had too nice a run last year and he got beat 14. He looked like he was going to win by 6 in the lead up and looked like he was going to faint on the line. He's just got that short little, like the only way I can see him winning is if, like a Hugh Bowman ride where he just track, somehow gets out with 200 to go and dashes and wins. Like, if you're hoping for that, you're not taking $6, are you? So no. I think he can win. I think I'm nearly agree with Nico. Like, 20 to 1 is where I'd want to be getting to back him. I think I can see him winning, but I think he needs just everything to go his way.
Is that the other knock too? The rider?
At least he's ridden the horse. At least he knows what he's dealing with. I think he's a good enough rider to understand that this horse cannot be exposed early and win. So, yeah, and it's got a decent gate, hasn't it? It's got 8 or 10 or something.
Yeah, I couldn't see many value at $6. The next horse, Buckaroo DK. You're the head cheerleader here.
Yeah, I am, Scoot, yeah. So gate 21, came up with gate 21. I don't think it makes much of a difference. He's coming from back off midfield. He's coming from where Without a Fight and Gold Trip were. This is very similar to Gold Trip. I mean, Gold Trip, the queer in the distance, apparently he couldn't run 3,200, but on the day, slung into the race by Mark Zahra at the right time, home it goes. I think it showed you don't have to be this out and dour stayer, especially these ones who come off midfield with the bursts that sool into the race at the the last 600. The good jocks can put him to sleep. This horse, since he's gelded, he's a different horse. The Turnbull form, the Underwood, the Caulfield Cup, it's all the A form here. Moreira will be dead set trying for his life after what happened last year on Soulcombe. Not that he wouldn't be anybody who loves his horse. So, I don't mind the barrier. I think you just go to sleep out the back. He'll be in that wave coming into it, get on the back, and he'll let rip with a big turn of foot and... Geez, I reckon it'd be hard to hold out.
Yeah, I think the barrier's probably cooled his chances a bit. I think you'd be really keen on him if you sort of drew 7 or 8. So he's going to have to overcome that. No doubt the Caulfield Cup he probably should have won. Courier's on 3,200 metres. For mine, he's not a lot of value at the price at $6, but I agree with most of what DK said that he's probably the best horse in the race. For what we've shown, he brings in the best form. There's a lot of ticks there, but just with the barrier and the Courier at 3,200 metres, I'd want a little bit better price, but not going to shock me if he wins. Wouldn't put the pen to him, but I think there's just a few small negatives there just with the barrier.
John Malta.
Yeah, very similar. Just where's he going to be? I don't think anyone really knows. There's actually an opportunity there. There's not that much speed in the race that he could think about having a look if he jumps well to try and slot across. I think that's, he's got a bit of El Costello about him for me, like going the best in the race. But I don't really want this horse to have to come from last, especially going to 3,200 for the first time. That's the problem. Like, if he rides the horse really well, come to the first bend, you'd be like, I can't believe I'm not on this. But at $6, I agree with Nico. He's testing loyalties just simply because of the price. I think he's going the best in the race, but I think he's going to face a huge task.
Yeah, I can definitely see this horse running sort of top 5. I can see him sort of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th here. If you need a little bit of comforting about a wide draw, go have a look at 2016 and watch Joe Moreira give Heartbreak City the best losing ride in a Melbourne Cup ever. I think he is the pilot and he's the right person from Barrow 21. But I couldn't talk you out of this horse. I think if he runs 3,200, he's going to be in the finish. But breeding, if I put my breeder's hat on, I think he could be, gasping for oxygen the last 200 metres. But for DK's sake and anyone that's on him at a good price, I hope I'm completely wrong there. But good luck to the Buckaroo backers there. He looks best of the real shorties, I would have thought. Circle of Fire is the next one. He was brilliant in the Sydney Cup. It was a jaw-dropping win, but he hasn't quite found that Sydney Cup form John.
Yeah, the Sydney Cup win was crazy, as you say. Like, he sat 3 and 4 wide on a fast speed the whole way, and then was arguably the strongest on the line, running away from, a few horses that are in this race, ATHABASCAN, which they're not legless, but we just haven't seen that horse. How can you bank on it turning back the clock? I don't think so. I don't know. You could put it in exotics for sanity because he runs the trip, but that's about it.
Nico, I thought he showed a glimpse of form in the Turnbull, but Caulfield Cup Day, he reverted.
I think the Caulfield Cup was a tough race to be out the back if you weren't a class horse like Buckaroo. Like, a lot of those horses were exposed a long way out. And there was a few of them, him, Warp Speed, a few others that just didn't really run on. So maybe it's forgive. The Turnbull was okay. Yeah, like the Sydney Cup win, he's right in play, but he's drawn 24. Does have the right man for the job, Mark Zara. But I think if he drew, 6 to 8, you could probably make a good case for him at 30 or 50 to 1. But I was happy enough to be against, given the draw. He's going to have to do it the hard way, and he's not going that well at the end of the day.
I'll keep it short. The barrier 4 killed whatever sort of rough chance he had. I would have thought barrier 24 killed it. But these things that just got completely towed in the Caulfield Cup, I find it hard to see him turning around into a Melbourne Cup.
Top 10 best for me, I would have thought, but 3200's his saving grace. Warp Speed, Nico, you've got very strong opinions about this Japanese galloper, so you could lead the charge here.
Yeah, well, I thought he was none in the Caulfield Cup, and I was hoping he was a bit shorter in the market. They'd probably come with me in the end, running around $31. I thought he'd improve a lot from the run. He actually is a horse. I think if this is a Melbourne Cup where they sort of sit up early and someone makes an early move or something like that, and it's a real genuine test late, well, he'll come right into play because he is the out-and-out stayer of the field. He got a soft run. I thought he could improve. Like, he's very short at $26. If he was like 100 to 1, I could maybe factor him in. I just think he's a little bit too short. But I think you're on a much improved race. So this was definitely more his race in the Caulfield Cup.
The super dry track on Tuesday suits. Well,
yeah, massively suits. Soft draw suits, and like Nico's saying, 3200s. That's a pick for him. So he is the out and out whacker in the race. The problem is he has no gear change whatsoever. So a lot needs to go his way, but he will just keep whacking. So he probably goes in, second, third, fourth, especially in exotics. But if he wins, I think he needs a lot of favours.
All right. The next one is Kovalica, and I think I'm head cheerleader here. And I think this horse has had a fair few forgives this preparation. I thought his Epsom run was outstanding behind Cho Wolf and Tom Kitten. Got stuck in behind them, and it was unlucky not to win that one. The Hill Stakes, I thought he was only really asked to dash up the last sort of 400. I thought Zach Lloyd sort of missed the boat in that run. I thought Bo Mertens gave attrition an absolute 12 out of 10 there. So I was sort of forgiving the Hill Stakes, and then Waller erred to go to the Cox Plate instead of the Moonee Valley Cup, and I think that was better because the horse was just having an absolute pipe opener. And I thought he did enough, as I said, through the video replay. I love the fact that he's 59 down to 53.5 kilos. While I do concede that the compressed weight scales, I guess, a little bit depletes that weight advantage. But for mine, I think he's the up-and-coming weight-for-age horse that the race definitely needs. And for me, he's my top pick in the race. I just think he's untapped, and a lot of people were thinking after I think his Queensland Derby preparation that everyone was expecting this horse to go, the Cox Plate and to the Caulfield Cups and things like that. And for whatever reason, he kept him at shorter trips, Chris Waller. And then even if you go back to his last winter campaign early in the year, I thought the horse was absolutely flying around the Q22 and those sort of races. But maybe the Q22, he came to the end of his prep, and the couple starts before that, I think he just struck a couple of wet tracks. So the big ticks for me are bone dry with this horse, and you've got a great jockey in Damien Lane, and I think the horse is really clean-winded and honest, so I think it's a great idea that they haven't put the shades on him because I don't think he needs them. So, yeah, for me, he's definitely going to be my top pick in the race.
I love, as I said before, Scoot, love the fast run Cox Plate lead up, and you're right, what you said before, I don't think he got around Moonee Valley. I know he was under pressure and it was fast run, so he's being really tested, but he seemed to grab around the turn, the whip in the left. The big track, you see him flatten out when he won that race in Queensland. The big track, I said he'd be back with Buckaroo, I would have thought, being put to sleep and being let rip with his turn of foot. So, I thought he had some sort of hope.
Yeah, I think probably about right. 17 to 21 seems about where he'll sit with me. I could kind of agree. Don't think he really handled the Valley that well. He was third fastest last 200 of that race, so he was doing all right. The Queensland Derby win off that, you'd think he looked to stay early days, and they've just tried even better races. So the talent's there. I think the huge tick's the jockey in a race where it's quite thin, considering the jockey ranks. A lot of these horses have got 50 kilos. You have a world-class rider on, and he gets it right more often than not, Damien Lane. So I think that's the big tick for him.
Well, you know this horse pretty well. He's a Sydney sider.
Yeah, it just feels like a bit of an afterthought, which is my problem. Looks like he's been sort of set for a 2,000-metre peak, and then they've gone, okay, well, we'll just throw him in here. So, yeah, I just don't think he's got the miles in his legs. And from 17, even with Damien Lane, he's going to be set a task, you would think. You know, he's going to have to try and do something pretty special. And whilst it wouldn't surprise me to see old Kovalica ripping down the middle, yeah, like 20 to 30 to 1 has to be his price just because he's got such a tricky setup. You know, and I love horses coming out of weight for age as well. I agree with everything you said in the lead up. He just never looked comfortable. It was hard to see because he was so far back, and goddamn Vicestina was often gone. You didn't really get a good look at him. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see him do something, but I want 20 or 30 to 1, which you're getting, so I'm not heavily against him.
Sharp and Smart is the next horse coming to the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. It was a big flop on the Turnbull Stakes on the slow deck. Trainer knows how to win a big one, and this horse was pretty menacing back in the 3-year-old Derby days. What do you think of him at the Valley?
Yeah, I thought his run was good. Craig Williams in the post-race got off and said he didn't know if he handled the Valley that well. He was sort of looking around at the lights and was a bit of a big baby. So this horse is one of the only Group 1 winners in the race. There's not many of them, and you know, if you're sticking up for Kovalica off his sort of 3-year-old Derby runs, this horse is very similar. His ratings are similar from when he was in the Derby. Completely went amiss last campaign. And then I saw him first up in New Zealand. I thought, you might actually do something in the Cups. And then his first few runs are a bit disappointing. Signs of life last start. Big tick with him as a rider. Mickey D, like he's a gun rider of stayers, gun rider of Flemington. The Rogerson team, they know how to prepare a stayer. I thought he was the best roughie in the race. I had him more like 30 to 1. And I'll be having a good crack at him top 10. I think he'll run a great race.
Yeah, I love the way he stuck on late, like looking for the 3,200, didn't he? So he went from hard to hard riding, and then next to me he's right up there with him. So
just kept coming.
So yeah, no, I couldn't. At those big odds, I'll agree with Nico. It'd be a top 10 chance.
He's not been one of your favourite horses, John Walter.
Who did he beat? He beat Friedman's horse that day. Yeah, I had a good look at him because he does look a bit of a whacker that'll be suited by 3,200. But I don't know. He went so bad visually and kept coming that it just dragged that race down for mine. That was sort of what gave me a bit of a smell about that race. So, yeah, you got to make decisions, and I'm just worried about that Moonee Valley Cup form overall. So, dry's a plus, and 3,200 metres looks like it's going to suit him, but he's deserved roughie for mine.
Yeah, he's a top 10 chance for me. I'll cry if he wins, but I'm going to have to risk him. Can't be with them all. Number 7 is Just Fine. Walt's already given a little bit of an appraisal there, but would need one of Jai's best. I assume he's going to be the leader and just needs to pull a Gay Waterhouse rabbit out of the hat, or if he gets left alone, there isn't a huge amount of speed in this race, as you sort of suggested, Walt, but is there anything left of this horse, Nico, from the yard?
I thought he presented super in the yard last start. I had a massive crack at him each way. I thought it was a perfect race, come across, lead. I had a big knock on Francesco Guardi and probably should have backed AKITA SOUSHI in the end. I had him second pick. So I was very shocked that he was beaten 11 lengths. I just couldn't comprehend it on the night. So I think that's the question mark. Is there a horse left? You got a lot of favours in the Bart Cummings, but John McNeil has won a Melbourne Cup before leading, so you get a slight tick there. But yeah, it's just if there's any horse left.
Yeah, as I said, coming in off the B, he got gifted the Bart Cummings. Dead set gifted it. Well, they let him get away with murder there. All the others are asleep. And then Jay Child said there was no excuses. He was very disappointed in the other day. So I said you can't. It's very hard coming into this big race of a blemish like that. Yeah,
I agree. Like we looked at the replay. He was weak on the line when he won that Bart Cummings, and then he punctured the other day. So I don't think I've ever seen a Melbourne Cup winner come off form like that and turn it around even with a soft lead. Yeah, not for me.
We'll move on to number 8, and that's Land Legend. Your little love child, John Walter. Take us away.
Yeah, and I'm going to fall for him again. Anyone who knows me hates. There's two words that I hate more than life itself, and that's earmuffs. And funnily, I think if there's ever been a horse in the world designed for earmuffs, this is it. Drawn a little bit awkward. I would have loved to see him actually draw a bit lower this time with the muffs going on, but Zach sticks with him. he just did so much wrong in that Caulfield Cup. And we're obviously, if you're trying to justify a horse beaten a long way, the way he just sticks on just does my head in. His first up win when we saw him with Schiller that day, and I abused Schiller for thinking he's a Mongo for taking off when they're going so quick, and he's like, oh no, it was pulling. Now you know why. The horse is just such a keen going horse. So the key to this horse is obviously settling and tempo. All these runs have been great. The Metrop win was great. He over-raced for half of that. You just can't do as much wrong as this horse does and stick on. So 3,200 metres is absolutely no problem, I don't think. And if the penny drops magically with the muffs on and things go his way, I could see this horse pissing in.
Yeah, well, Zach's had his second spin on the horse, so I think that'll count for a lot too coming into the Cup. And Flemington's got to be a much better track. I know, Nico, you and I spoke about this. We didn't think he handled Caulfield at all.
Yeah, he was probably the horse to beat coming into the bend, and then once they sort of started cornering, he was going like he was shot, wasn't he? But he did stick on well. Interestingly enough, the earmuffs pre-race come off for the earmuffs for the whole time. So in the yard, he presented great. He was really relaxed. He definitely didn't have a bee in his bonnet then. It was when he got behind the barriers, and that was when he completely went to pieces and lost the plot. So very different scenario. Caulfield, the crowd is right there where they have the barriers. Whereas Flemington, they're up at the 1,000-metre mark, so there'll be no one out there. So probably a better scenario for him there. I think drawing wide's probably not too bad. Gets into a midfield. Yeah, I had him shorter. I think I had him around $12 or $13. I might save on him. Could be a winner, but I think if the Caulfield Cup's the right form, well, he's definitely got to be right in play, given he probably didn't handle the circuit and did a lot wrong.
I can't get my head around it. To see a horse, as Walt said, I mean, I just can't. But Walt's going to be joining in. I just can't. I can't fathom it. I've never seen a horse who pulls like he should be dropping out. And then this thing sticks on. Like, it's just, I've never seen it before. So, and then I'm saying now he's got to run 3,200, and he's got to pull his head off at some stage in the race. But if he rides him like he did in the Metropolitan, where he got him there, sooled around him and made that long run, like the well-timed run around them, which he can do from this draw.
He'll keep going.
Yeah.
I remember first up, he ran in the fence. Nearly fell over. And then picked up and ran away from him.
At Cleveland. Yeah. We're all on Cleveland. I can believe it.
So, yeah, that X Factor. And again, if it was $6, I'd be making the excuses I've made as excuses and saying that's why you can't back him. But because he's 20,
he's triple the price.
This is why I can. So, yeah, he's just the X Factor horse by a mile for me.
Yeah, I love the fact that Waller took him out to the Bendigo Cup. So didn't give him that Cup Day experience where he could have gone to pieces completely, but he's gone to take him out for the solo track gallop. And I like that. But earmuffs, not sure that I know much about that, but I'll have to back in Walt's assessment there. But yeah, he's a top 4 pick for me, and I agree. I think he's a real X factor, and he's definitely a horse that you can't leave out of your trifectas and first fours. He's deadly if it all goes right on the day. Number 9 is Absurde. Walt and I are sticking up for this horse. I think he's the pick of the Mullins crew. I've heard a lot of commentary about everyone thinks that this race rates a lot lower than last year. We were all pretty bullish on Without a Fight and its chances. I went back and had a look at the replay of this horse. I think he just hit the front far too early, Absurde. And if the race is going to rate lower, the benefit of barrier 7 here, then despite Kieran McAvoy going just average in Sydney, I think he's a perfect jockey for this, and he's just got a sense of timing in these big races, K. McAvoy, and I think he's the most dangerous of the drop-in internationals, and I think he's a real live player here.
Yeah, and so again, he comes in similar form to last year, which is superior to what we've seen from Sea King and One Smooth Operator over in the UK, and then you've got to decide whether they've improved since they've come out here. We've seen Absurd. We've seen that he can. He had quite a nice run in that race, but like you say, just hit the front way too early. He's definitely got a turn of foot, and he can definitely sustain it for longer than VOBAN can, in my opinion. He's got an absolutely perfect draw, and yeah, we're very similar in our thoughts on McAvoy, that he drives you mad for 99% of the year, but he's certainly a person who can perform under this sort of pressure, and actually it's his specialty. Distance races, these sorts of horses, puts him to sleep, times his run. That's K. McAvoy. So I think, yeah, he's just got so many ticks, this horse, that he's just going to run well, and you don't have to, 2 starts back, forget it. He's just got this horse ready for one race. They just avoid the handicapper. He knows he's in the field, and just expect him to run to at least as well as he did last year. There's no Without a Fight here. We've covered all that. I think I'm going to mark him close enough to favourite, that's for sure.
I could see him getting absolutely hammered at the caller card if the Irish boys are around. Boys in Melbourne?
Yeah, he's an interesting runner. Last year I had a bit of time for him. $10. I think he's short enough. Kieran McAvoy's a positive. He rides well in this race. He's a good staying rider, good draw. The horse he beat last up was absolutely flogged by Solcombe when he met him, and Post Impressionist beat him as well. So you got a bit of a form tie in there. I don't know. I'm just around them. I know there's a lot of talk that they've come back and they've done it different this year, these Mullins pair, but they just didn't show enough for mine last year and they're too short. So I'm around both.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nico. But the McAvoy's definitely played the better timed run. I mean, it hit the front way too early last time, as they both did. But so McAvoy's a good selection for a bloke who's won the race 3 times. Definitely in its favour. So, I'm cured of the Mullins pair.
Number 10 is ATHABASCAN, Rick O'Shea and Tom Charlton. Zach Lloyd rides the fearless one.
Yeah. Second in Sydney Cup to Circle of Fire in that huge performance, which, yeah, I think that sums him up. I think he's really honest. He'll run 3,200. He's drawn absolutely perfect. His setup's absolutely perfect. I just don't think he's got the class to beat a few of these and would need a lot of things to go his way. I think he'll run top 10 for sure. Just be surprised if he's got enough firepower to sort of run 1-2, something like that.
Yeah, top 10 for me at best. You boys?
Yeah, top 10 at best. You'll get a nice run, but I just thought his form doesn't look strong enough.
Yeah, he's peaking at the right time. That Wycliffe went good yesterday. Nearly beat Faulkner Park. Beat him in the St. Ledger. So soft draw, yeah, top 10-ish.
Number 11 is Knight's Choice. Coming out of the Bendigo Cup, he was held up a little bit unlucky. Definitely a big improver on the dry ground. We'll get it. And Nico, I've got a sneaky suspicion that you or your brother might be backing this horse to win a truckload at the Call of the Card.
Oh, I don't know. I think Trav's sort of kicking up for him more than me. He likes dry ground. His best, you could probably see him running top 10. Gets a good map, and he was pretty unlucky in the Bendigo Cup. You probably could have made a case he should have run 4th or 3rd. So, yeah, few ticks, but when he's really running the proper stuff, he's been well beaten, albeit on wet track. So there's a few sort of ifs and buts for him, but yeah, I couldn't see him winning.
No, I'm with you, Nico. Yep, no. Yeah, Trav's getting inventive here, I would have thought.
He's got a bit of X factor, enigmatic ability, and he did enough in that Bendigo race to just drive you mad.
In.
He did. He just he looked like he was going to balance up and go. So yeah, if he runs 3,200 dry, huge plus. Yeah, I'm definitely not talking to anyone backing him at 100 to 1, but yeah, he'd have to do something special.
It's amazing. If he had gone a little bit worse last time, or didn't just sort of pick himself up after getting hammered, you'd say he's got absolutely none, but he's just that little curious itch to scratch, and yeah, I'm going to have a peanut on him at the big price because I'd be just mortified.
He'd hurt you if you won it, and you'll probably get 200s or something crazy. So
big time.
I agree.
And just the fact that it's just going to be bone dry. This is what this horse needs. But yeah, he's a scary customer. Yeah, I wouldn't go too hard. Number 12 is OKITA SOUSHI. This definitely is a horse that you boys had a massive crack at last year's Call the Card, Nick Noonan. I think you might have tried to buy it on the online sale, and you will be vomiting blood, and this will be a real dagger to the heart if this one wins.
No, it won't, because I'm going to back him. So I don't care if he wins. I'm just going to keep going. I thought
that's right. Yeah, back it. Just bet.
Well, we backed him top 10 last year, and he ran 11th, so that was good. But yeah, I should have backed him last. Just the horse that's got under my guard. I should have backed him last start. Had him second pick. Thought he improved stacks from the Hurt Power, and when he won, I was a bit filthy. But I think he's just hitting the race at the right time. I'm sort of really defaulting to the horses that are coming here off really good runs, and I think that's a near career best performance for him last start. It was a great win in the Moonee Valley Cup. He likes dry ground. You get Jamie Carr, he gets 51 kilos. Thought there was a lot of positives for this horse. I got him much shorter than $16. Think he'll stay all day. Interestingly enough, he's got the similar line to Buckaroo throughout his breeding. He's by Galileo out of a Fastnet Rock rare, and Buckaroo's by Fastnet Rock out of a Galileo mare. So there's your tie in DK. But yeah, I think this horse is a huge chance. I think he'll run a great race. Great jockey-trainer combination for a race like this. So, yeah, big ticks for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're terrific in the Herbert Power. I mean, that was 2,000. Ma said in the Moonee Valley Cup, he said the only way this wins if Billy gets an inch perfect, gets everything right in this race. This is at 2,500 because he was looking for the extra ground. Billy did that, found the 1-1 and soared into it, but sustained its gallop. So this is the day, the Mars day, peaking on the big day. With all the reasons Nico said, I go. I thought I had a good hope.
I was with the boys last year. He was probably my best result, maybe, or the winner. The winner was good, but yeah, like Ruffy was anyway. So And he just got cast back to last, didn't he? So and then really spent all his petrol
Trying to come back into it.
trying to get to the spot. And I desperately tried to make a case that this horse won't run the trip because of, interpretation, putting a few lengths on him and everything last year. But draw is just so much better this year, Ryder. Plus, he just gets a lot more ticks this year, even though he had the long break, definitely working to form. Yeah, as much as I wanted to find a reason for him not to be able to win after being beaten and running 11th last year, I couldn't. So I'm with you. He's definitely a top 4 or 5 chance for sure.
Yeah, my slight negatives with this horse, I just think he's had the PR both at his last 2 starts, and I think he was sort of blessed or just was in the right spot in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. And again, in the Herbert Power, I think he had it sort of all his own way there as well. And the horse that I thought should have beaten him last 2 starts was Braden Starr. But having said that, we were taking sort of 201 Braden Starr and thought he was a knockout chance in this race. So I'd give him a chance and think he can run a big race, but I think he just lacks the killer punch for me to actually win the race. So I wouldn't be surprised top 3 or top 5. Definitely going to run the 3,200. But yeah, at $18 for me, he's just a little bit too skinny. Number 13 is the next horse, and it's One Smooth Operator. $8 into $7. Already mentioned the fact that he's had that slight little cut on his heel. Whilst probably going to be against him at the price, given that he looked to pull up a little bit quickly from the Geelong Cup. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking that form line's fake news, and I think I'll be leaving him alone at $7, and I can't quite understand why he's the one the market's sort of gravitating towards instead of a couple of other runners. I just think it was a bit of an act of God, right spot, right time, great ride last time that won him the race. But yeah, I've got a bit of a drag on that sort of form.
Yeah, pretty much we said. Like the little bit of lameness after last start, the feet problems, massive big issue with feet, and especially in races like this on firm tracks. 37 starts the horse has had, 2 7-year-old. That E-ball run in comparison to Sea King, I just thought Sea King had a lot more upside to One Smooth Operator off that run in particular. It sort of had the flowing, blended passage the whole way, and whereas Sea King was sort of duck and weave, and old mate looked like he was going to fall off. There's a jockey in Queensland? It looked like Jeff Lloyd was back, but yeah, I just in direct comparison to Sea King, I nearly had Sea King on top of him every which way, and then those extra added issues with the feet. It's going to go around a loser for me.
Yeah, I just couldn't get him as short. I think why the market has him so short is the rating. Like, he rated through the roof in the Geelong Cup, but he had a few things in his favour to do so. I think if you profiled him off his form prior to last start, you'd have him like 60 or 70 to 1 here in the Cup.
Synthetic horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, so if you just put him in off his last run, and I think, which is what the market's done, he's right in play from a ratings point of view. He's beat the handicapper, getting 50 kilos, Craig Williams. There is some ticks for him, but not enough to take $7 for mine.
Yeah, I thought he was well found at those price scoot. I know the impressive winners of the Geelong Cup have a good record. Duneton, Mary Kane, horses like that have a good record in the Cup. But as I said, there's a few things. The favourite stopping after getting pulled up out of the gates, and a few unlucky horses in that Geelong Cup, even though it's rated well, a bit flattering. So he seemed well found to me. Number
14 is Zardozi. Nico, you like the prep, the way she paraded? Definitely sounds like you're starting to warm. Sense of timing about her.
Right colours for Nico.
Yeah, it's got blue.
Yeah, top pick for mine. I think you can make a really good case for her. Started $2.25 against Buckaroo early in the campaign. She starts $6 in the Caulfield Cup. Her form at Flemington's outstanding. Like you said, I thought she presented in great order on Saturday. I think she has the right platform for the race. She's had 2 2,400-metre runs. The run on Saturday, which wasn't like a fast run mile, it was just a good clean out. She was in the line strongly. She maps perfectly from barrier number 4. She's a gun on dry tracks. Like yesterday was a good 3, and some are even saying maybe even firmer. And, Tuesday could be the similar sort of thing come Cup time where I think it's about 27 degrees. So Flemington horse, gun trainer, thought he rode up terrific in the Caulfield Cup at Zini. And he probably just has to find the gaps here. So, yeah, I had a near favourite, and she'll be my best result in the race. Zardozi, I think she's a huge chance.
Yeah, I think she's got a great chance. As I said earlier, Nico, she's got the V. Sistina form from the Winks early in the prep, the Buckaroo form from the Chelmsford. Got the Metropolitan, the great run in the Metropolitan, which really put her with Land Legend. The soft track in the Caulfield Cup, happy to see that clean-up run on yesterday was was lovely heading into this race. So the barrier draw was the final part of the puzzle. So
and I thought another big tick was the weight. She's the third highest rated horse in the race, and she gets in with 51 kilos with the mare's allowance and those kind of things. But I think she's the one that's really beat the handicapper. Like, she's a 114 rater. Circle of Fire's a 112 rater and got 54.5. So I think she's really in well.
I'm a little bit worried about her Caulfield Cup run. I thought she was smashed in the market on Caulfield Cup Day, with everyone assuming that she was the best suited by the soft track conditions. And I thought that she should really get around Caulfield a lot better than a horse like Land Legend. Flemington's a massive tick for her. I like the Empire Rose form line and run, but yeah, in my mind, I sort of put a horse like, I think you could put a couple of horses into that race and they'd probably go out and win it. Buckaroo would absolutely make mincemeat of those, and so would Kovalica, and they're only 2 kilos and a couple of kilos up the weights more than her, but she makes more appeal than a lot of those runners hard in the market. So I can see her beating a lot of them home, but I'm just not quite convinced. On just her credentials, just that Caulfield Cup run on what I thought should have been the soft ground. She should have just eaten that up. There's just something there that I just didn't like about that Caulfield Cup run.
But a lot of them in the same boat of that Caulfield Cup. There's only 2 horses that went good. The rest of them all had underperformed, basically all of them. So there's something in that, So the old little rating down before the into the big ones is it's an old trick. But I agree with what you said, Scoop. But I don't think the ones that were towelled I'd be hard against. But
trust the SP.
Yeah, trust the SP with her and Land Legend. Yeah,
she's just she's had
you, Gordo.
Yeah, but $16, I think she's a fair enough price.
Yeah. She ties into Land Legend, like very similar form, right? Like they went head-and-head in the Metrop. They went head-and-head basically in the Caulfield Cup. If you take the line that Nico's taking, that the dry track helps her and doesn't hinder her, and she's had the absolute best preparation of any horse in the race, you've got to entertain her. And because she's $16, not $6, you've got to entertain her. I'm a query at her at 3,200 metres. The draw certainly helps that. The riders had a crack at her. The James Cummings a freak. It can't go around a loser for me because it makes too much sense for her to run well. But I've got a query, especially at the price. I do have a query at the 3,200, and I sort of get where Nick's come from. It's just a little bit smelly. She didn't go past Land Legend, at least, but she ties into World Draw, all that stuff. So she has to go around at least a chop out for me, if not a small winner at the price.
Nico's top pick, Zardozi. Seeking is the next one. Barrier 1, Holly Doyle. Boys in Melbourne.
Third pick for me. I think he's hard to ignore. Like we watched the Ebor run, he was right there with One Smooth Operator. Then he comes out and bolts in the Bendigo Cup. The Bendigo Cup horses just always overachieve in the Melbourne Cup, and I think this might be the best horse that sort of tackled that race. Saw interpretation last year. He was flying home late. Probably should have run in the top 4. Year before, High Motion coming out of the Bendigo Cup. It's a great race to run well out of, and they went around at like 100 to 1. He's right in the market. Holly Doyle should get him just in a nice spot from barrier number 1. Prince of Penzance one from barrier number 1 with a female rider, so there's something there for the historians.
Jesus Christ.
So Harry Eustace, you just got to get on the phone to his brother and say, how do you prepare a Melbourne Cup winner? Oh, here you go. I think there's a lot of ticks for this horse, so he'll be a winner for me. The market hasn't missed him, like at $9.50, but I think he's about his right price, but I reckon he'll run a super race.
That's what was my idea. I thought he's well found at the price, but he's got a chance that just for Bendigo Cup horses, when you say they outperform, they generally outperform. They're normally big odds and they run really well.
Yeah,
he's single figures just about at the moment. He's beaten Star Vega and horses like that at Bendigo, which I don't know if that's and Whiskey. I said Whiskey, who was very unlucky there. He should have finished a lot closer to him. So he's going to get a great run. He's the import who's had the run here and bolted in the lead up. So, but I thought a bit better price for. He needs to be Scoot.
Yeah, gate 1 just help. I think he's the one. Like in direct comparison to him in One Smooth Operator, I can't see it beating at home. So the price is the only little drawback. The win was very good, ratings, all that, very good. Everything's been covered. Soft draw, perfect. Blinkers. He obviously relaxes well. He's going to run. He's going to run well. But I think it's just maybe not the value there. But he has to go around again in that sort of bracket of small winner or chop out sort of spot for me. And I agree with Nico. He's well inside. He's inside my top 5. Whether he's sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th picks is the only thing I'm debating.
Yeah, just looking at that Ebor run, he raced a little bit fresh that day. So I think the 2400 of the Bendigo Cup just takes the edge off him nicely, this horse, and she just can poke him out of the gates at a leisure. And I just think he's just got that big, long sprint, as we saw Declan Bates. And he can just hold his top. I was really impressed with what I saw late, and he's my clear second top pick. And I'm just sort of kicking myself that I haven't been able to secure a bigger price somewhere in the mix, because I know this horse has just been 200s, 100s, 150s, lurking 30th of entry, and God, he's just got the best sense of timing. And I think with the Bendigo Cup, and more so, I think the old Saab or the Lexus, I think in years to come, I think this Bendigo Cup's going to be the best sort of 9 or 10 days gap. I think it's just absolutely perfect. Just that little bit closer than the Geelong Cup, and it's a great track, and it's just the best platform. And he's just got that step down drop of weights that I really like to see in handicaps. So he's gone from 58.5 in the Ebor to 54.5, and now he just won't know himself 50.5. So if he's come through that run any good, he'll be running 3200, and his breeding suggests like he's a Sea the Stars out of as his sideline and Duke of Marmalade out of the jam side. So he's bred to be a star. So no surprise that he's got all the looks to match it. So yeah, he's nearly my top pick. I absolutely love the horse. Number 16 is Valiant King. Chris Waller. He's spoken all preparation about the Melbourne Cup being his sole aim. He was unlucky in last year's Caulfield Cup. A slowing horse. It might have been a OKITA SOUSHI that fell into his lap, and he's been ticking over, and you boys might be able to find a way to forgive him out of the Caulfield Cup.
He was doing his best work late, looking through the punting form data section. It was the 4th fastest last 200 of the race and the 3rd fastest last 200 in the Turnbull. So I think you could make some sort of a case for him off that, suggesting that 3200 is going to be a big tick. Does have a second of VOBAN overseas, had $10 in a strong Caulfield Cup last year. You could make a case for him at $81 for top 10 and exotics. He's definitely got the talent. It's just, whether he's got the real talent to win it, I suppose. I think
he's only won one race before, hasn't he? Which is a maiden.
Yeah.
He's only won a maiden. He's got gate 22. So, no, move on, Scoot. Next.
Any case, Walt?
No, not really. Short story, not long. No. It would need. Yeah, he'd have to stop at a couple of drive-throughs, I think.
Number 17 is Fancy Man, Annabelle Neesham and Rock and Ron Stewart down from Queensland, barrier 19. He surprised me a little bit, Nico, with his Caulfield Cup run, sort of just poking his bib out there to run 6. He just kept whacking away after an okay effort in the Herbert Power.
I thought he was a good roughie in the Caulfield Cup. Off the weight for age ratings, you could have made a strong case for him at his best. I think one of his best numbers was like 105.5 when you adjusted it for the weight, so it was in play. He had an okay run there. I think from the gate he might have to go forward, or he's going to have to really look for a position to go back. So he's a top 10 chance, but I'd be surprised if he won.
Yeah, no, I thought he's Ronnie Stewart by barrier 19, by 100 to 1 by Query at the Trip. No, pass.
Yeah, he's probably like, except for the draw, he's like a bit of an ATHABASCAN. So what's ATHABASCAN? It's like 25s into 100s. Maybe I don't know. If Ronnie pulls one out of his backside, he could run top 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah, top 10 at best for me. Good luck to Ronnie Stewart. Number 18 is Interpretation. He's in Nico's fan club here. Nico absolutely loves this horse, and he brings the Geelong Cup form, and you can make a case that that was near a career peak run for him as well, Nico.
Yeah, he was super in the Melbourne Cup last year. He didn't have a lot of luck. He was back in the field, gets him with 50 kilos again. It's a stronger cup last year than what he faces this year. There was all the ticks until this week, I think. That was the query for mine. Now he's got the Equicast on, which just can't be a positive going into the Melbourne Cup. I know they're freaks, the Mar team, and they usually get it right, but I can't see that being a positive at all. So I think it was all going well until 2 or 3 days ago for Interpretation.
He was peaking at the right time, wasn't he? And that run last year, he was 19th at the 400 and charged home for 6th. Without a fight, and Solcombe and these things all sort of suck through, and TOZ's and off heels, swing it to the outside and too far off themselves. Terrific run-off. I thought, as I said, I was sort of looking for him up until recently, but No, that's you can't go into these grand finals with stuff happening like that. I wouldn't have thought, Nico.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with a horse like this who does need a lot to go his way. He just always seems to be running on, always, and just too late all the time. If he drew soft and no Equicast, but he doesn't draw soft and he's got Equicast, so if he wins, I will be doing my clacker.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Top 10 at best for me, but I'm not interested in with the points that you guys have raised. Number 9 is MANZOICE. This is a great result for you in the VRC Derby when he won it. MANZOICE, John Walter, Declan Bates takes
far out.
takes
You want to love him because you've got that residual love, and he went all right in the Y on Cup, and you're like, oh, maybe he's alive, and he was just terrible at Moonee Valley, and man, like. Yeah, not even I can make a case for him, so no.
Yep, none. Looks gone.
Yeah, no, hasn't done much since that derby, so no, none from 15 since then, so no, not his scope.
Yeah, well below his best lately for mine. Mostly cloudy, Karis Teaton rides, Bussett and Young. Well tailed out the back of the Bart Cummings. He's a definite no for me.
Yeah, can't have him. Big gap between runs too, like coming out of the Bart Cummings. He wouldn't have raced for a month, so... And then he hadn't raced since the Archer since then. So he's had 2 runs since September 1. So
he's a quirky horse. I mean, what's the way? Just in his races, he sort of over races a little bit. You've got to put him to sleep on the fence and suck up behind him. And no, not for me.
Yeah, I think same as kind of what Nico's saying there. Smelly the prep. It's just like there's something not right there. Sort of band-aiding this guy together, trying to get him to the race, which is surely, massive class test. So. He likes 3,200 and dry track helps. That's about it.
I hope he runs well for the camp because they had a tough week. Like Muramasa and the other horse that they had that looked like they were key chances, Braid and Star, and both didn't pass the vets. So, hopefully runs well for them because they look like they had 2 live chances and now they got him.
The sort of horse who could slug into 10th to knock Nico out of his top 10 bet or something. You could feel that happening.
Definitely after I sunk the boots in.
Positivity, Andrew Forsman, Winona Costin, had a slight setback, was scratched out of the Caulfield Cup with a foot issue, maybe got its campaign back on track and probably needed that run in the Moonee Valley Cup. Wouldn't completely shock me, but I worry about the underlying issues with his horse as well.
Too many issues. Like the Moonee Valley Cup run, she probably had to do more. Started $6, so relative SPs and that, you could probably make some case, but just had to do more there last start.
Yeah, no from me.
No, 20 gate and the ferret riding it hopefully goes up there and puts a bit of pressure on Just Fine and then stays out of everyone's way the second half.
Number 22 is St. George. Tyler Schiller, C. Ma. Again, a horse that's given him some trouble early on in the prep, but looks to have put his best run in the Moonee Valley Cup, as you referenced, Nico. He might have a bit of a sense of timing here, and Market is certainly starting to zero in on this galloper, 34 into 20s, and he's probably been 50s later or early in the week, sorry.
Yeah, he was real doubt to get a run, but he's got in. Tyler Schiller aboard. As you said, the market support. He was really quick late in the Moonee Valley Cup. Looking through the sectionals on punting form, he was the quickest last 200 of the race, and for the 2, the second fastest. Fast run race. He does have a bit of a sense of timing about him. His form over in Europe was quite good. He ran second at Ascot in the Queen's Vase where he beat Circle of Fire home. Sense of timing. I think the dry track's a big positive. Apparently didn't handle the wet track in the Bart Cummings. So, could see him running really well, but they're really sort of finding him. I thought he'd be a good chance at 30 or 40. He's now into 20s. I think this could be a horse that could continue to tumble.
I thought he was a top 10 chance, but I reckon he'll be a lot better this time next year. We might be tipping him, with the year in the prep.
Yeah, he's only had 10 starts.
Yeah, first prep year under his belt and all that business. So I think, I'll be looking for him in 2025.
When you say he was very quick late in the Moonee Valley Cup, are you talking relative figures or just in that race? He certainly didn't look quick to my eye. He's just too big a whacker. He's got some synthetical filler on too, I think, hasn't he? Which fake problems and a bit of a whacker. If he wins, I'll be losing.
Yeah. My query with the whole Moonee Valley Cup form, I sort of close my eyes and wonder how many of those horses would have got within 10 or 12 lengths of Versestina and Cox Plate. And I know it's a different race, different type thing, but most of them are El Camels.
It's only because you're trying to elevate Kovalica at every opportunity.
Well, it's been a proven form on the Cox Plate for a long, long time. But, I think it's just a rung below. And as you say, Yeah, it might be a bit of fake news at how fast they're getting to the line in that 2,500 metre event. Number 23 is The Map. Rachel King and Dan Clark and Upi McGilvray, the Adelaide Hope. Jamie has decided to go the other way with AKITA SOUSHI, and Rachel King scooped up the ride on The Map. Nico, what do you think of the Geelong Cup run here?
Yeah, I backed her in the Geelong Cup. I thought she presented great in the yard and just sort of sent her around, didn't they? They didn't want the penalty, drew 2, didn't have a lot of luck, and then they drew 23 in the Cup. I think it'd be a great story if she won and was to run well, but I don't really know how she's going. I think I just wanted to see a little bit more in the Geelong Cup. I know she was a bit unlucky, but just wanted to see more.
Yeah, I didn't think she did enough there. I think on barrier 20. Barrier 23 sort of kills any chance of hers, but does love Flemington, so that's the big tick for her coming back to the big track at Flemington.
They do your head in these horses that are pre-qualified, don't they? Like when you know their whole prep's aimed at one race and they can get penalties and whatever, but if it just doesn't done enough, and that's it. The Schumacher from 23, she's got to fly back from the Breeders' Cup and had a bit on. All too much for me, The Map.
I think she's going a lot better than her last couple of performances. I think she has had zero intent to win the Foundation Cup. The Herbert Power, she's as dead as a doornail, and then just wasn't there to win completely and just got in the wrong spot in the Geelong Cup. But dry ground is a massive positive for her, and I can see this horse running top 5. So when a lot of them will be looking for oxygen, she'll definitely be running out the 3,200 strongly. But yeah, wouldn't shock me at all if she runs into the placings as well. So one for the multiples for me. Number 24 is the next one, and this is Trust in You. This is a horse that I thought could win the St. Ledger last time. I think maybe Tom Sherry needed to get off and going a lot earlier, akin to the ride that he rode in the Metrop, where it was only beaten sort of 3.5 and sort of came back on the line against the Land Legend and ZARDOZIs of the world. But yeah, it was just a real flat performance and a bad ride. It's last start. So I wouldn't be surprised if this horse runs top 10, but I just needed to see more out of him last start. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with him.
I'll lose all trust in humanity if this horse wins, but I was with you. We both sort of thought he went okay in the Metrop, and he should build off that. And even though it was only an average ride last start, yeah, I wanted to see more, and he trialled okay since. If he wins, too good.
Nico and DK, any love for Trust in You?
He's had 15 starts on dry tracks or 1 win in 3 seconds. So most of his form's on wet ground. So I think that'd be the big negative for Tuesday.
Yeah, no, not for me. Good luck to the jock. Mark 2+3, but no, not for me.
All right. There's your runner guide, and now we'll go to the top 4 selections. Nico, it's your backyard, so you're the youngest. You can lead us off the bat. Top 4 in order.
ZARDOZI on top. Think she ran a huge race. Love the preparation. Love the miles in her legs. Love the map. So ZARDOZI on top from AKITA SOUSHI. Think he's set to run a huge race. Seeking the Bendigo Cup. Think he'll get the nice run. And Land Legend may be the best stayer in the race. He's got to get it right, but if he does, yeah, watch out if he gets it all right on Tuesday, because he could just explode. So ZARDOZI from AKITA, Seeking, and Land Legend.
DK?
Buckaroo, can't drop off now. It's been so good. How can you drop off? Been tipping him and he's been pulling out the performances he has. So I'm just picking Joe to pull out a Heartbreak City, pull a big one out here, Joe, and round them up. The 3 I've got probably all questionable. At 3,200. So AKITA SOUSHI's in there because it's the one that's going to relish the step to 3,200. And then I'm with the Metropolitan too as well. The Caulfield Cup form, I'm sticking with the Caulfield Cup form. I think it's the best lead up. So ZARDOZI and Land Legend. So yeah, they're mine. So Buckaroo, AKITA SOUSHI, and the 2 from the Metropolitan and Caulfield Cup.
ZARDOZI and Land Legend to round out your top 4. John Walter.
Well, Land Legend will be best result simply because of the price. Absurde. They're the top 2 clearly for me between them. And then there's sort of a break to Seeking, ZARDOZI, and then AKITA SOUSHI and Buckaroo. Probably a nightmare's Buckaroo's just too short. So it'll probably go around a loser for him. But Land Legend and Absurde go around solid winners, and then it's just a decision making. So whether Seeking and ZARDOZI go around winners, they're probably my main 4.
Yeah, I'm not too dissimilar to you boys. I've got Kovalica on top from Seeking, and then I've got Absurde and Land Legend. And then, similar numbers for exotics further down the track. But it's going to be a great race despite, Via Sestina not accepting. Had you have been in the race, Via Sestina, would you be backing or would you have tried to take the $6 and what price would you have had?
Which version of Via Sestina?
The one over your shoulder.
Cox Plate Sestina?
Yep.
I would have been absolutely gapping it because I think that was a gut-busting end of prep run. So I'd be surprised if she runs Saturday. So I would have been betting against her just on principle that I don't believe my eyes last start and I don't think she could have repeated it.
What about you boys?
Probably would have been against.
Oh, yeah.
DK? Yeah.
Ooh. No, well, I didn't. I was glad it's not there, so I don't have to make that decision, Scoot. Who knows? Like I said, for all the odds. So what barrier would she have drawn? Stuff like that.
Oh, Christ. Mate, get off the fence.
So, no, I'm glad she's not there. I'm going to stick with Buckaroo.
Scares me that Walt wants to be against her because I thought she would have been a moral.
What price would she have started is probably the more interesting. I reckon she would have started 6 to 4, $3, something like that. She probably would have.
If Incentivise started $2.50, she would have had to start somewhere near that off the last start rate.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's have a quick look at two more races on the Flemington card. Feels like we've been here for 4 hours, but the Furphy Plate is the first one we're going to have a look at. Hopefully we can find you a winner across the rest of the card if the Melbourne Cup goes tits up for you. And a quick look at the TopSport market. Apulia's favourite here at $3.10, Arran Bay $6.50, Earl of Tyrone $7, Cafe Millennium $8, Jimi Hendrix $9.50, Midnight Blue $11, Macram $12, and then Zachariah $17. Much better the rest. Let's have a couple of look at a couple of replays. The first one here is Jimi Hendrix. This Seymour Cup, was absolutely jam packed. Nico.
Yeah, he's last in the blue on the fence. He was slowly away and then he couldn't keep up or wasn't ridden to keep up early. Then he flies home, second fastest last 200 of the race. Now he draws 4, gets B Shin up in distance. He's pretty good on the dry tracks, this horse. Don't know if it's the greatest lead up. I think the winner's got some chance and even the second horse, but thought he'd be the big improver. He was like $16 when I was doing the form, but he's into 10 now. But I think with Bishin, he's got some advantages. Apulia was really good here. I thought he needed the run from a yard point of view, so he'll only improve. But this was a VOBAN race. Like these are like the English races. They're just stinky form races. He does have form outside of these, running second in the Derby last year. And did he win the Vars? I think he did from memory. So, he's rock solid, but I just question the form probably.
Isn't it horrible trying to, the horses that cheat, 3 and back, fall back the fence at the Valley and then poke through late? Oh man, trying to line them up is so difficult.
Yeah, this is a tricky race because I thought Cafe Millennium was okay last time. Arran Bay is dangerous at Flemington. Any initial thoughts here?
Jay Lloyd's a very interesting choice of rider for Cafe Millennium, the big giant, especially Flemington. I don't think he's had much of a look around there too often. But
and then he draws 1. Worst barrier
he's
for
be bottled. It's just he's that sucky thing that'll jam you if you bet against him, and after 200 metres going off his head, fall back the fence if you back him and drive him mad. I just leave me out of Cafe Millennium Gate 1.
All right, so Nico's pretty keen on Jimi Hendrix, and the market agrees $13 into $9.50. It goes J Mott to B Shin, so it doesn't lose anything there. I think Apulia is a pretty tough customer. I didn't think he was going to be ready for that one, so I thought he did a really good job to get so close and has a bit of a smelly Ben Will JD Hayes set up sort of job. Look at it from my eye, Apulia. So I'd be saving him if you're going to back Jimmy. Make sure you keep Apulia a winner. And my best bet across the card, or the best value bet that I've found, is in race 9, and that's the Hong Kong Jockey Club Stakes. Aviatrice is the favourite here at $3.70. Miss Aria, $6. Konasana, $7, running by 9. Comrade Rosa, $12. Poifict, coming out of the Seymour Cup, $16. Then you got Fancy Fire, 16. Tis Invincible, Molly Knickers at $18. And you got Fall for Sydney and a few others well down in the pecking order there. Horse I like here is Konasana. This is Regan Bayliss. Sorry, we're going to have a look at Aviatrice first, and here she is outside the leader here, and it's the 1,200 metre Northwood Plume at Caulfield, and she did a good job here. Sat outside the leader here and put him away nicely, and I thought she could start to stamp herself as maybe a Goodwood or a Sangster horse maybe next autumn. And I've sort of pegged her as a 1,200 metre horse. So I'm a little bit wary on her stepping up to 1,400. And the horse I like here is Konasana in the purple and white. And you see a Straka out in front who just didn't quite see out the trip yesterday in the Golden Eagle.
Right next to Port Lockroy.
Here comes Port Lockroy just making a right-hand turn, and I just really like the last sort of 100 metres of her race here. And this is 1,300 metres. Reggie on, now gets J-Mac, gets to the big open spaces of Flemington drawn outside. I can see her just absolutely revving home and sort of swamping a horse like Aviatrice, who will go forward and get a good run. But again, one's 370 and you're sort of getting sort of 7, 8, 850 around the traps for Konasana. And Konasana was quite good up in Queensland as well in the Magic Millions Classic up at Eagle Farm. She only got beaten 2 lengths to a horse like Foxy Frida and Le Creek. So she's got plenty of strength. And I think they've just worked out that she's sort of 1,400, 1,600 metre mare. So the negative could be a really dry track for Konasana, but she's managed to race pretty well on a dry track up in Queensland in the heat. So I thought she was a each way, sort of load up job, Konasana.
Sort of race gives you a seizure looking at it usually, doesn't it? A 1,400 metre mares race, but I think you found like she's the one with that was a very slow run race, and Port Lockroy did come out and run well in the $10 million race Saturday. She did sort of finish as well as him, and she was only first up. So I can't find any holes in what you're saying. I thought she was a wet tracker before then personally, so it was good to see her to run well through the line.
I thought Miss Aria might be a bit deep into her prep, $6 heavy in the market, and Lady in Pink was also a failure in that Tristark Stakes as the other sort of key lead-up run. But Molly Nichols was probably the other knockout. I think she might be back in town around the $18 mark, but where I think Luke Nolan, I haven't seen his punting form stats, but he's had a bit of a hard time of it recently. But I haven't really asked your opinion on this race, Nico. You know lots of these.
1,400 metre mares race, like dead set. Just throw the dart at the form card. They're impossible. I think I backed Foxy Cleopatra in this race last year or the year before, and she was 40-1 and should have bolted in. So a few nightmares from this race. I'm
too scared to ask DK about a 1,400 metre mares race.
Yeah, good. No, you can good.
Would you back Visastina in that race?
Which one?
That race there. I was
that
just
race?
I was just to see if DK will say yes to something. If you say yes.
Dropping back 600 metres after seeing what ZARDOZI did? Probably yes.
Oh, I'd back it with bloody Gary Harley riding it.
Oh, all right. Let's have a look at some of the bigger bets at TopSport on the Melbourne Cup. And the first one here is Just Fine, 1,000 at $41. So that's a pretty keen bet, and I don't think any of us
we know where the owner of Just Fine bets.
The owner, a very good client of Tristan's.
Yeah.
Fancy Man's the next one, 500 at 101. That's a bit of a knockout player, maybe a rung below, but definitely a knockout.
Must be the same punter.
Jeez, Tristan's going big. Yeah, he's got some wide punters early, hasn't he?
This is John Walter's bet, 2,000 on Absurde at $10.
Now you're talking.
See, that's a nice little bet.
That's not a good sign. I was hoping it'd be a bit soft in the betting. Well, anyway.
A bit scary. Some of the Irish boys might open their shoulders at call the card, and it could be an avalanche for that runner. ZARDOZI is Nico Noonan. He's just slipped this one on straight after she's crossed the line in the Empire Rose. So 1,000 at $16 is pretty fair. Be fascinated to see what the market does with that one, because the big boys usually love the quick backup, and she couldn't have done any more than run really well in the 1,600 metre race now that they've fiddled and tampered with the traditional schedule. But looks like a cracking Melbourne Cup edition. And big thanks to you boys for jumping out of bed on the Sunday. It's never an easy one. And good luck on Tuesday. Nico, you'll be operating out of the yard all day.
Yep, it's going to be a big week. I feel like I need a bit more of a rest, DK, after staying up late into the AM doing the form, and then had Mornington radio this morning. So yeah, it's been a big day, but it's only going to get bigger, isn't it? So no rest for the wicked, as we said last week, and just keep rolling through. DK, you look keen to get home and launch.
I'm going to get Junior off to MSAC. He's swimming the 200 IM at about 45 minutes, so I've got to get him there. But anyway, more just on it goes. But no, look, can't wait Cup Day. It should be a good race. The quality's down, but I reckon it'll be a great race.
Couldn't agree more. And make sure you check into TopSport on Monday afternoon for those 110% markets 3 till 4. And then we'll be back on our usual programming on Thursday for the Stakes Day show. So make sure you stay across all our socials for more updates and more information that as we push it out. But good luck in the Melbourne Cup, and let's hope they all get around safely and it's a cracking edition of the race. See you guys.